7. Smart things that make you look dangerous. There's a type of man people don't mess with, not because he's loud, not because he's aggressive, not because he needs to prove anything, but because there's something about him that signals depth, capability. The sense that crossing him would be a mistake, not because he'd explode, but because he'd respond in ways you can't predict or control. He's calm, but you sense the strength beneath it. He's measured, but you know he's calculating. He's quiet, but his silence feels like strategy, not weakness. The Stoics called this kind of power apatheia, not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it, the ability to remain composed while possessing the capacity for decisive action, to be underestimated until the moment it matters. Today, we're examining 7 smart things that make you look dangerous, not dangerous in a violent or unstable way, but in the way that commands respect, that makes people think twice, that signals you're not someone to be taken lightly. Because real power isn't about intimidation, it's about competence, control, and the quiet certainty that you can handle whatever comes. Let's define what we mean by dangerous in this context. We're not talking about physical intimidation or aggressive posturing. We're not talking about being feared through volatility or violence. That's not power, that's compensation for insecurity. Real danger, the kind that commands respect, comes from competence held in reserve, from capabilities that aren't advertised but are clearly present, from the sense that you're operating on multiple levels while others are only seeing one. It's strategic, psychological, based on demonstrated capability rather than threatened force. Think about the people you genuinely respect and wouldn't want to cross. They're not the loudest in the room. They're not the ones constantly reminding you how tough they are. They're the ones who are calm under pressure when others are panicking, observant when others are performing, decisive when others are debating, unmoved by manipulation when others are swayed, prepared when others are scrambling, controlled when others are reactive. That presence, that controlled competence, creates a psychological effect. People sense they're dealing with someone who's thought several steps ahead, who won't be rattled, who has resources they're not showing. And that uncertainty, that's what makes you dangerous, not what you've threatened to do, but what you're clearly capable of doing but haven't needed to. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The dangerous man has mastered his internal world so completely that external chaos can't destabilize him. That internal mastery manifests as external presence, as the sense that he's playing a different game entirely. Sun Tzu understood this. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. You don't need to fight when people recognize they shouldn't start the fight. You don't need to prove your power when your presence already demonstrates it. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about developing genuine capabilities, mental, emotional, strategic, and carrying them with such natural confidence that people intuitively understand. This is not someone to underestimate. So let's examine the 7 things. Not tricks or performances, but genuine qualities that create that presence, that signal depth, capability, and controlled power. 1. You stay calm when others expect you to react. This is the foundation of dangerous presence, emotional unpredictability through control. Someone insults you. They're expecting anger, defense, escalation. Instead, you pause. You look at them with genuine curiosity. You respond with measured calm or strategic silence. That response breaks their pattern. They prepared for anger. They got stillness. Now they don't know what you're thinking, don't know what you're planning, don't know if you even registered it as worth responding to. That uncertainty is powerful. Most people are emotionally predictable. Push this button, get that response. They're readable, manipulable, easy to throw off balance. But when you maintain composure in moments designed to provoke you, you demonstrate several things. 1. You can't be emotionally controlled. 2. You're thinking when they expected you to be reacting. 3. You might be several steps ahead already. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The dangerous man's reaction is always controlled, always intentional, never automatic. This doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means processing it faster than others expect and choosing your response based on strategy, not impulse. Someone tries to provoke you in a meeting. The weak response is defensiveness or anger. The dangerous response is a slight smile, a pause, and then, is that really what you wanted to say, or should we take a moment? Calm, observant, giving them a chance to reconsider while you've already calculated 3 different ways this could go. That's dangerous. That's control that signals depth. 2. You speak less, observe more, and remember everything. Information is power, and the dangerous man is always collecting it. While others are talking, performing, defending, explaining, you're watching, listening, noting patterns, seeing what people reveal when they think no one's paying attention. You remember who said what, who made which commitment, who has which vulnerabilities, not for manipulation, but for strategic awareness. Then, when it matters, you reference something from 3 months ago that everyone else forgot. You connect dots others didn't see. You demonstrate that while they were talking, you were understanding. That's unsettling, because it shows you've been paying attention at a level they didn't realize, that you see more than you show. Most people speak to fill silence, to be seen, to manage their image. The dangerous man speaks when he has something worth saying, and the contrast makes people listen when he does. Robert Greene wrote in The 48 Laws of Power, when you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear. Scarcity creates value. When you speak rarely but precisely, your words carry weight. And when you speak from a position of having observed everything while revealing nothing, people realize they've been playing poker with their cards, showing while you've kept yours hidden. The reframe, not talking constantly to prove you're present, but observing strategically and speaking with precision, not forgetting casual conversations, but remembering details that reveal patterns. The dangerous man knows more than he shows, and that knowledge gap is power. 3. You're comfortable with silence and use it strategically. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill it. That rush reveals desperation, discomfort, need for approval. But you're comfortable in silence. You let it stretch. You use it as a tool. Someone asks you a question designed to make you defensive. You pause. 5 seconds. 10. Looking at them, thinking, not rushing. That silence does several things. It makes them uncomfortable. They expected immediate response. It shows you're not reactive. You're considering your answer. It creates uncertainty. What are you thinking during that pause? It signals confidence. You don't need to fill every gap. In negotiations, the person who speaks first after a proposal usually loses. In conflicts, the person who can't tolerate silence usually reveals more than they should. But the dangerous man uses silence like a weapon. He knows that people will fill silence with their own anxieties, their own assumptions, their own revelations. Marcus Aurelius practiced this. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Silence gives you time to think, to reason, to respond from strategy rather than impulse, and externally it makes you impossible to read. They don't know if your silence is calm, calculation, or controlled anger. That ambiguity is powerful. The reframe, not rushing to fill every silence, but using pauses strategically to think and create uncertainty. not seeing silence as awkward, but recognizing it as a tool for control and observation. Comfortable silence signals depth and confidence that anxious talking never will. 4. You have skills people don't expect. The dangerous man is multidimensional in ways that surprise people. He's the corporate executive who's also a skilled martial artist, the quiet intellectual who can handle himself physically, the tech professional who speaks 3 languages, the businessman who's also trained in emergency medicine. Not to show off, many of these skills remain hidden until the moment they're relevant, but their existence creates a pattern. This person has invested in capabilities beyond what's visible, and once people see one unexpected skill, they start wondering, what else does he know that he's not showing? That uncertainty is strategic. It prevents people from putting you in a box, from assuming they understand your full capacity, from underestimating you. The key is genuine competence in unexpected domains, not surface-level familiarity you can brag about, but deep skills you've quietly developed. Physical capability when you're known for intellectual work. Cultural fluency when people assume you're narrow. Technical skills when you're known for leadership. Creative abilities when you're seen as purely analytical. Bruce Lee said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." But the truly dangerous man has practiced multiple kicks 10,000 times. He's multifaceted, and that range makes him unpredictable. The reframe, not being one-dimensional, but developing genuine capabilities across different domains, not advertising every skill, but letting them emerge naturally when relevant. Hidden depth is more powerful than advertised expertise. 5. You're unpredictable in your standards. You don't accept what others tolerate. Most people have negotiable boundaries. Push hard enough and they fold. Insult them publicly and they laugh it off. Disrespect them and they make excuses. The dangerous man has non-negotiable standards, and people can't predict which line will be the one he won't let you cross. He'll tolerate legitimate criticism calmly, but disrespect to his family, immediate, measured, decisive response. He'll laugh at jokes about himself, but dishonesty in a business dealing, the relationship ends. No discussion, no second chance. This unpredictability in enforcement creates caution. People don't know which boundary is absolute, so they're more careful about all of them. The key is that these aren't arbitrary or emotional. They're principled. They're based on values you've clearly defined for yourself, even if you haven't announced them publicly. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." When people can't predict exactly what will trigger your absolute line, they imagine it might be anything. So they're more cautious generally. This isn't about being volatile or unreasonable. It's about having clear standards and enforcing them consistently within each category, but having those categories be non-obvious to others. The reframe: not having soft boundaries people can test repeatedly, but having firm principles you enforce decisively. Not being predictably tolerant or predictably rigid, but being selectively absolute in ways others can't anticipate. When people can't predict your limits, they respect all of them more carefully. 6. You don't explain yourself or justify your decisions. The dangerous man doesn't need external validation for his choices. Someone questions your decision. The weak response is to launch into justification, to prove you thought it through, to seek their approval. The dangerous response is simply, "I've made my decision." Not defensive, not over-explained, just stated. This does something psychologically powerful. It signals that you don't need their agreement to be confident in your choice, that your internal compass is strong enough that external validation is irrelevant. Most people constantly seek consensus, approval, agreement. They need others to validate their choices before they fully commit to them. But when you make decisions and stand by them without needing to justify them, it signals several things. 1. You've thought this through at a level they can't see. 2. You're comfortable with the consequences either way. 3. Their approval isn't necessary for your confidence. That independence is threatening to people who need consensus, and it's magnetic to people who respect autonomy. Epictetus taught, "If you wish to be free, desire nothing and no one that is not within your control." When you stop needing others to validate your decisions, you become free, and that freedom manifests as a quiet confidence that others find either inspiring or unsettling, depending on their own security. The reframe, not over-explaining every decision, but stating your choice and moving forward, not seeking consensus before committing, but deciding based on your values and accepting the outcome. The dangerous man doesn't need permission. He informs, then acts. 7. You're willing to walk away from anything. This is the ultimate power position, genuine non-attachment to outcomes. The negotiation where you're truly willing to walk away. You have all the power. The relationship you'll leave if boundaries aren't respected. You can't be manipulated. The job you don't need desperately. You can speak truth without fear. Most people can't walk away. They need the deal, the relationship, the position too badly, so they tolerate what they shouldn't, accept what doesn't serve them, stay where they're not valued. That need makes them controllable, but the dangerous man has built his life so that nothing is irreplaceable. Not any one job, not any one relationship, not any one opportunity. He wants things, he pursues things, but he doesn't need them so desperately that he'll sacrifice his standards to keep them. And people sense this. They sense that threatening to withdraw doesn't work on him. That manipulation tactics fail because he genuinely doesn't care enough about the specific outcome to be controlled by it. This isn't sociopathic detachment. It's strategic self-sufficiency. You've built a life with enough options, enough capabilities, enough internal stability that you can afford to walk away from anything that violates your principles. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. Love fully, engage fully, but don't attach your peace to any specific outcome. Be willing to let go if that's what integrity requires. When you have this genuine willingness to walk away, you paradoxically become more attractive. Because people sense they can't control you, can't trap you, can't manipulate you through your desperation. The reframe, not needing any one thing desperately, but building a life with options and self-sufficiency. Not threatening to leave manipulatively, but being genuinely willing to walk away if principles are violated. The dangerous man can't be controlled because he's already free. Look at those 7 things. You stay calm when others expect you to react. You speak less, observe more, and remember everything. You're comfortable with silence and use it strategically. You have skills people don't expect. You're unpredictable in your standards. You don't explain yourself or justify your decisions. You're willing to walk away from anything. Each one contributes to a presence that commands respect, not through force or aggression, but through demonstrated capability and controlled power. This is what makes someone genuinely dangerous in the strategic sense. Emotional control makes you unpredictable. They can't manipulate you through provocation. Strategic observation means you know more than you show. Information asymmetry. Comfortable silence creates uncertainty. They can't read your thinking. Hidden capabilities prevent being underestimated. Multidimensional competence. Unpredictable enforcement of standards creates caution. They don't know which line is absolute. No need for justification signals autonomy. You're not seeking approval. Willingness to walk away eliminates leverage. You can't be controlled through need. Together, These create what the Stoics called apatheia, not the absence of emotion, but mastery over it. The ability to feel deeply while acting strategically, to care about outcomes while not being enslaved to them. And that combination of genuine capability held under calm control is what makes people think twice. Not because you're volatile, not because you're aggressive, but because you're competent, controlled, and unpredictable in your responses. Here's what this isn't. This isn't about becoming cold, manipulative, or emotionally unavailable. It's not about intimidating people through fear. It's not about toxic power games or dominance displays. It's not about being artificially mysterious or performing indifference. This is about genuine development, building real capabilities, developing actual emotional control, creating real options so you're genuinely willing to walk away. Because the dangerous man isn't performing danger. He's developed to the point where his presence naturally commands respect. And here's what happens when you embody these qualities. In professional settings, people take you more seriously. They're careful about how they approach you. They don't waste your time with nonsense because they sense you won't tolerate it. In relationships, you attract higher quality people who respect boundaries and value autonomy. You repel manipulators and game players because their tactics don't work on you. In conflicts, you de-escalate through presence rather than needing to escalate. People back down not because you threatened them, but because they sensed engaging would be a mistake. In negotiations, you get better outcomes because people sense you're genuinely willing to walk away. They can't pressure you into bad deals. In social dynamics, you naturally command respect without seeking it. People notice when you speak because you don't speak constantly. They value your time because you don't give it freely to everyone. This isn't about being liked by everyone. Dangerous men often aren't universally liked. They're respected. Sometimes admired, sometimes avoided, but rarely dismissed or disrespected. The path to this presence is straightforward but not easy. Build emotional control. Practice staying calm in provocative situations. Train yourself to pause before responding. Develop the ability to think while others are reacting. Develop genuine skills. Don't just collect credentials. Develop deep competence in unexpected areas. Become genuinely multidimensional. Practice strategic silence. Get comfortable with pauses. Use silence to observe and think, rather than filling every gap with words. Define your principles. Know what you absolutely won't tolerate. Then enforce those boundaries decisively and without explanation. Build options. Create a life where you're not dependent on any one thing. Develop capabilities that make you valuable across contexts. Stop seeking approval. Make decisions based on your values and accept the outcomes. Let others' opinions inform you when relevant, but don't need their validation. This isn't overnight transformation. It's years of development, of building genuine capability, of testing yourself and learning where your real limits are versus where your perceived limits were. But the result is worth it. A presence that commands respect not through force, but through demonstrated competence held under calm control. Here's your practice. Choose one of these 7 qualities to develop over the next 90 days. If it's emotional control, start practicing pauses before responding. Count to 3 before answering any question. Notice when you're about to react and choose your response instead. If it's strategic observation, spend 1 conversation per day primarily listening. Observe patterns, remember details, see what you notice when you're not performing. If it's comfortable silence, practice letting silence stretch. In conversations. Don't rush to fill every gap. Use pauses strategically. If it's unexpected skills, pick one capability outside your known domain and begin developing genuine competence in it. If it's clear standards, define 3 non-negotiable principles and begin enforcing them decisively. If it's autonomy, practice making decisions without seeking consensus. State your choice and move forward. If it's walking away, identify one situation where you're staying out of need rather than choice. Build the capability to leave if necessary. Start with one. Build genuine competence in it. Then add another. The Stoics knew power comes not from what you threaten, but from what you're capable of and choose not to do. Build that capability. Hold it in reserve. Let your presence speak for itself. Stay focused. Stay grounded. And remember, the quiet work you do today is shaping the strength they'll never see coming.